Welcome back to my channel. Today we will work on releasing symptoms related to anxiety and heightened stress. And just as a pre-note here, I'm an energy healer, so I cannot claim to treat anxiety, just using it because it's a general term that's often used. But yeah, we can look at whatever can contribute to that and address that, and that's what we're doing today. So this will be an instructive healing session, meaning that we'll instruct our systems to release and let go of whatever we can at this point. And yeah, just know that you only go to work with whatever is meant for you at this time. You're always in charge. You're always in control. There will be things that I will speak out loud, other things I won't. So just so you know. And you can lay back, lay down, just sit back, whatever feels appropriate to you. But yeah, just get comfy, get settled, pause the video if you need to, and then we will get into this topic. So when you're ready, you can just close your eyes. And what we'll do for this session is we will start off with breathing together. So we will take 3 deep breaths together to basically set up the tone for this session, because this will already calm down. And you want to make it slow and deep breathing. And you might find it helpful to place your hand on your belly. So it's not just shallow breath. You want to make it like deep belly breath. Okay, so we're going to get started. So here we go. Take a deep breath in. And out. And in. And out. And in. And out. Now just go back to your natural way of breathing. And just become aware of your body. And notice if there's any tension somewhere, any tightness. Just breathe into that. And then release on the exhale. And again, notice if there's other sensations coming up. Breathing in. And then relaxing. Breathing out. And just try to stay in your body as best as you can. If you fall asleep or drift off, that's okay. You will still receive the clearings. Just keep coming back to your body and to your breathing. We're just going to get started now. Okay, so first what we're going to do is we're just going to do like a broader cleansing on contraction, anywhere held in the body. Tension as well. So basically calling forth an energetic response here, and then we're clearing on that. So again, clearing on tension. And then like a wiriness, like feeling wired. And also restlessness, feeling restless, unable to relax. Yeah, and if you feel like breathing, breathing deeper, breathing heavier, it actually moves the energy. So just go with that. And you might hear me breathe deeper too. Okay, and we want to bring in some calm here. Just some calm and soothing energy. More grounding also for everyone. Okay, so now what we'll do is we'll move through different areas in the body and basically clear on or release what is held there. Not limited to that area, but what is coming up there. And we're going to start with the head. So we'll start with just clearing on overthinking, patterns of overthinking. Any inlays for that? Worrying as well, over worrying. Over analyzing. And just being overly mental. Yeah, and like that mental tension out there. Okay, and then bringing in more awareness also around those patterns, because yeah, we can dissolve patterns to a certain degree, but then we also want to be aware of them, because when we do, and once we notice them coming on, we can let them go in the moment, just drop them in the moment. So bringing in more awareness here for any of those patterns when they come on. Okay, with that also like, yeah, resolving like negative spiral loops. Let's clear on that. Any inlays for that, holding them in place. Okay, now we're going to the brain. So we're working on the brain, but just on the etheric part of the brain. So everything exists in etheric form as well, like all organs, all glands, cells, blood, all systems. So we're just working on the etheric brain simply because it's gentler. So it will still ripple through, it's just a lot more gentle, and for this session, it just feels appropriate to do it that way. So first we want to clear on the amygdala. So that's like the emotional part of the brain, clearing on the etheric form of that, like doing like a cleansing of any, like stagnant, like any discordant energies there. So still cleansing on that. Okay, and then the whole like frontal lobe area as well, cleansing that area out. Yeah, any discordant energies, any distress there, disruptions. Or like disruptive patternings, I should say. Okay, so now we just want to balance the brain, balance and harmonize the brain, balance the hemispheres. And restore the rhythm, like the natural rhythm and flow of the brain. We're working on that. or rhythms, it's plural. Again, just on the etheric level. It's very gently addressing that. Okay, so now we want to go to the jaw and clear on chronic stress held there. Not limited to the jaw, but that's where a lot of it comes up and where we store a lot of that stress. So clearing on chronic stress there. Unresolved stress held there. Tension there. Yeah, any jaw clenching. And then clearing on a perceived lack of control. And also feeling out of control. Yeah, and a fear of being out of control. Yeah, that feels better. So now we're going to the neck and the trapezoid area and releasing tightness there. And also what comes up there is pressure, like feeling under pressure. Yeah, bottled up pressure. Which that causes a lot of distress, a lot of stress. And then also feeling overburdened. For some, it might also be, even like feeling burned out. So let's clear on that. And then hardship, unprocessed hardship. Whether that's, from this time, other times around, you don't have to know what that is. But any like hardship that we haven't processed. So we want to release that. Yeah, if that brings up, emotions like sadness, feeling weepy or whatever it might be, just allow that to come up. Allow for that release. Yeah, because that hardship, like, and just trying to, hold that in place, like takes up a lot of energy and it causes contraction throughout the body and distress. Yeah, and also frozenness, like any frozenness there. And really any frozenness throughout our body, wherever we might perceive that. So no, but we actually like we addressed, yeah, the neck, like the trapezoid, like also the whole like shoulder areas. So all of what we just mentioned came up, within those parts. Yeah, and that's also clear on like a fear of the future. So any fear of the future that we might hold. Clear on that. Also on any regret of the past. Okay, so now we're moving to the chest. And just release any heaviness there. So let's start off with that. Sadness, grief, unprocessed grief. Sorrow. Feelings of isolation that we might have or have experienced at some point. And a lack of connection. Let's ground that. And then overwhelmed, feeling overwhelmed. And this could be like feeling overwhelmed by life, by situations, by people, by our own thoughts, emotions. So any feelings of overwhelm. So just cleansing on, broadly fears held there. I'm not going to go through like the individual ones, but just different fears and experiences related to that held there. And experiences of letdown. And again, could be let down by life, people, creator. And the anticipation of that. And again, if you're feeling, emotional, if you're feeling weepy, just allow that to come up. Okay, so now we're going to the solar plexus area now. And clearing on fear held there, or fears held there. And feelings of disempowerment held there. And again, like it's specifically in that region, yeah, it can be feeling disempowered, by something externally or someone externally, whether that's in the past, whenever that might have been. It can also be like, feeling disempowered by our own patterns, our own behaviors. Okay, and then in regards to fear, also like, yeah, clearing on the fear of being overpowered. Fear of being powerless or feeling powerless. And helplessness, feelings of helplessness. Which sometimes, can come up as, just like that sense of not knowing what to do. Like, I just don't know what to do. Yeah, let's also clear on that, what that just brought up. Or I don't know how to get out of this, or I can't win here. Which ultimately it's not true, right? It's a story, but it can bring up a lot and it can cause that feeling of stuckness. Okay, like any bottled up stress here, also in relation to what we just mentioned, clear on that. Resentment, unresolved resentment and anger. Feelings of injustice and stress around that. Yeah, and let's just bring in the energy of empowerment here and helping us to tap into that inner strength. Okay, so now going to the abdomen area and clearing on unresolved stress there. And fear held there. And particularly, yeah, somehow like the fear of not being okay. However that comes up. And we might not even know what that is, but just like that fear of somehow not being okay. Let's clear on that. And feelings of unsafety out there. And for some, it can even be, that sense of the world not being a safe place. So let's resolve that. Okay, so now we're going to the back. First, like the middle back, like middle to upper. So basically like the back of the heart chakra area, clearing on tension there. Unresolved hurts help there. And the anticipation of that. And then what's also coming up here is like a fear of just coming out of, like a fear for like coming out of hiding, or fear of coming out of like a shell kind of. And a fear of opening up. However that pertains, because that's going to be different, like for everyone. It can just be like a fear of, opening up to life, a fear of opening up our hearts, opening up to love. So however that pertains to you individually. Yeah, and bringing in safety here. Okay, so now we go into the lower back. Again, clearing on tension there. Stress held there. And also a lack of support, whether that is emotional, whether that is financial. So clearing on a lack of support. And feelings of aloneness, feeling alone. And you might not perceive that at the moment. So this can be, from any points in time. Yeah, and sadness coming up with that. Okay, so now we're moving to the legs. And clearing on feelings of disempowerment there. And a fear of moving forward. Let's clear on that. The fear of going one's own way. Especially if that means, not fitting in with what everyone else is doing, what the crowd is doing. So fear of like taking that lead, going that, one's path. Yeah, and then fear of not belonging. And also fear of the unknown. And a fear of change. And dissolving any stagnant energies here. Okay, so now we're coming to the feet. Just clearing on what might be holding us back at this point. And the stress that brings up. And then also just feelings of disconnect, whether that is, disconnect from the earth or from our environment, people, or just within. Yeah, and even that just brought in, feeling more anchored in, feeling more grounded, feeling, more of that. Yeah, there's just a sense of like unwaveriness kind of coming in with us. Okay, so now after we moved, through all these areas, we're just going to do like a broad general cleansing of the nervous system, just the etheric form. of the nervous system. And then balancing and stabilizing the nervous system. Yeah, and with all of this, I don't know if you can feel this, but there's like a stillness that's coming in now. So yeah, still stabilizing, balancing the etheric nervous system. Just doing that also actually helps, the digestive system as well, even though we're not working on that. But a lot of the discomfort in that region or in that system has to do with, our nervous system and our brain and distress. Okay, so now also balancing the cerebrospinal fluid that flows without, around the brain and also around the spinal cord. So just balancing on that. Okay, I know we're just gonna let that sink in for a couple of minutes. Still gonna be addressing a few things silently here. We'll let that integrate, just for a couple of minutes. And last but not least, let's bring in the energy of peace here. Let's just bring in peace, balance, safety, connection, and support. And compassion. Compassion for ourselves and others. Gentleness. Grace. And kindness. Loving kindness. Okay, so you can, just take a couple of breaths, start coming back. Maybe just, stretch, move around. When you're ready, open your eyes. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's making me humble. Just making me emotional. Yeah, just know that like all of what we're doing here, the integration takes longer, right? So it takes days, months, however, I mean, we're not obviously conscious of that. But specifically, like in the next couple of days, maybe you feel, more coming up, more emotions coming up. And then just try to allow that to be there, like the sensations, whatever comes up, and try to not judge it and not attach any meanings to it. Not think about it, no stories. It's just energy moving through. And usually I say, come back to this whenever you feel called to do so. Now, the other day I was thinking how, when I was working more the other way around with energy healers, and there would be like a recording like this, there would actually be general guidelines, like listening to that for 30 days or 21 days. And at the time I did, because I didn't know, I didn't know how many times or what would be best for me to get the most out of it. I often refrain from that because at the same time I want to empower you to trust your own guidance, trust your pulse, trust your inner knowing, right? Your intuition. But again, like I know that I didn't have that in the past, and I actually did need that guidance. So yeah, I just wanted to bring that in here because when we're working on something and we really want to get the most out of it, then it's like an interactive thing. So when we're working with a session like this, there's multiple layers in each session, and every time we're addressing something else or something on a different level. And then it can really help to re-listen several times to really get what we can out of that. So if this is something that you're dealing with, and of course it's not for every topic, right? But if something really is bothering us, if we're dealing with something and we really want to work on that, then that re-listening and taking it to, the next level and the next level can really help with that. It might not be that we resolve all of it, but yeah, like I said, we want to get the most out of it. And I'm also going to, in the description box, put maybe another few guidelines just on, if you don't want to just follow like 21 days, okay, if we have low grade, medium, or high intensity of a certain topic, or in this case of anxiety, for example, or symptoms of that, then what could be beneficial to start off with? And then we can still tune in and see, okay, do I actually want more of that or not? Yes, I'm going to put that below. And I'm also going to add a link to an older session that's on here, and it's just audio, and it's silent clearings. It's called Anxiousness and Overwhelm, and you can also use that, for pressure or stress coming up. And of course, you're not going to hear the clearings. What you hear is birds in the background, because I actually did record that in the early morning at some point. So if there's any moments where, heightened emotions come up, you can actually use that to help you calm down and resolve that, simultaneously actually addressing things on a deeper level, because that's what we're doing there. But yeah, just listening to that, maybe at night when you can't fall asleep, just listening to that. And in that, I only ask you to listen more passively. Now, if you would want to participate, then you could tune into sensations in the body. So let's say I feel overwhelmed. Okay, where do I feel that as sensations in the body? And then breathing into that, getting out of the mind, just breathing into that, listening to that recording in the background. And then you'll notice the intensity come down. And you might even want to rate it, if it's starting from a 1 to 10 and it's starting at an 8 or a 9, then after listening to it, you might notice, okay, now it's at a 6, maybe I want to listen to it again. And it comes down some more. And anything like below like a 3 or 2 really resolves itself. But yeah, or that's something you can do, like, where am I feeling this in the body, and then just breathing into that. I don't know what to do, right? Where do I feel that in the body? And noticing those shifts within as they happen, and allowing for that movement to come in. So that's that. And then a couple of other things here that you can do, like in the moment, what can also really help is that breathing that we started off with. And just that, taking a few deep breaths, and you can also make it 3 deep breaths, aiming for slow and deep, maybe even if that feels appropriate, placing again that hand on your belly, so it's not just shallow breathing, because that will help, activate the vagus nerve, activate the parasympathetic nervous system, calm down the nervous system, and it also gets you more into your body. And when it comes to anxiety and stress and overwhelm, a lot of that is mental, right? A lot of that is like those racing thoughts. So we want to get out of that. We want to get more into the body. And when you do that on your own, you can go slower than what I did. I wanted to find a medium, because everyone's different, but you could aim for a minute per breath. Doesn't mean that you have to get there, and you might not, especially not if you're really stressed out, but just to have that as an aim to really make sure that you slow that down. And then another practice that we can do on a regular basis that helps with this, and you might have done this with me before on this channel, is that simple practice of getting grounded and centered. And that goes a long way if you do that consistently. Like that, this is something that I do every morning, pretty much. Well, yeah, every morning. There's actually no exception to that. And then I also do that in between. For example, before coming onto a session like this, or well, I also use it for more directive, meditative, and intuitive practices. But yeah, I do that first thing in the morning to, get into this moment and to really get anchored down and into a more balanced state. And that's, starting the day off with that. So basically what we're doing is you're grounding down, and you can imagine like roots coming from your base chakra going down into the earth, whether that's just deep into the earth or the core of the earth, the heart of the earth, whatever feels good to you. You can also imagine that coming from your feet. And maybe it's not roots, maybe it's a column of light. So whatever feels good to you. And if you feel like you don't have any access to, sensing that or seeing that or like just imagining that, then you can also just have that intention, okay, grounding down, more grounding, more grounding. You don't have to know what that is or how that looks for you, right? Just more grounding. And then when I say getting centered, what I usually do is I ask you to place your awareness in the center of your head. So that's your driver's seat, really. That's where you're getting out of the thinking part of the brain, which is more in the front. And you're getting into that place of stillness, into that no mind space, where you have also a neutral perspective, and it's a non-judgmental perspective, where we have that spiritual perspective. And yeah, getting into that quiet space. Now, that does not mean that you don't hear any thoughts. You might still hear them. You probably will. But it's like passengers coming by, right? And you allow that to just move by, and you basically become uninterested, staying in the center. And ultimately, we're centering along the whole column line, basically getting into that, into that vertical alignment by doing that as well, getting grounded and getting centered. And then you're gonna fall out, and you're gonna come back to it. But you can do that on top of that, if that's how you start the day. And this can just be a minute or two. It doesn't even have to be long, and it still makes a difference. And then just setting an intention for the day, right? Like today, I'm going to remain as balanced as I can, or I'm going to bring in more balance or more harmony or peace for myself, or ask for more of that. And you might want to tune into what the main theme for you is here. So let's say you have a lot of anxiety, and underneath the anxiety is fear, then the solution for that might be safety, right? So the intention could be having more safety or cultivating more safety. So if you do this over a period of time, consistently, you will notice that you will build up more of that safety from within. Maybe it's something else. Maybe it's ease. Maybe it's calm. Maybe it's peace. So whatever that is for you, but just like setting that intention in the beginning of the day will already set you up, for the day, because it directs your focus. And where your focus goes, right, also your energy flows. So your creative energy goes into that. And you don't have to actively do something. You will automatically maybe, approach things differently, do things differently. Things might come to you, so that you will cultivate more of that just by setting that intention. And what I just want to say, especially with, topics like these that can feel very debilitating, and like they have like control over us. It's good to remind yourself that no matter where you're at, you can get out of that. You can resolve that. Just the fact that you're thinking about it, that you come up with, okay, there might be a way, actually means that part of you already knows that it's possible, and that it's possible for you. And you will get there, no matter what. And someone else might deal with the same thing and not even look for anything, right? And you might even tell them, and they still won't believe it. But if you actually can come up with that for yourself, it's because it's already there. Because you know it's available to you. And like in any metaphysical area, there's this basic understanding that there's infinite versions of everything, including us. So that version already exists, right? So you want to hold on to that version, hold on to that self that is free of it. Free, I mean, we can still, of course, we still feel emotions and we still experience anxiety and stress, but it doesn't have to be the degree that it actually holds control over us, or that it feels like it rules our life in some way, that we don't know how to cope with it. We can get out of it. And I know it because I've done it. Just like a lot of other things. And it's the same every time. You might not get there directly, right? Sometimes it's a couple steps, sometimes it's a lot of baby steps. Ultimately, it doesn't matter. We just have to be like flexible when it comes to the details, if you will. But you want to hold on to that version or that vision, because this applies for any topic, no matter if you want to resolve something or if there's something that you just want for yourself. It's always the same. You want to hold on to that. And stay firm to that and hold your focus on that. And I just recently heard someone say, this was in a different context, but they were like, okay, if you're really wholeheartedly committed to plan A, you don't need a plan B. And I agree on that. Like, that's my take too. So if you have that and you're committed to that, knowing that you're going to get there, you will get there. No matter where you're at right now. That goes, like I said, for anything. You will get there. And you will notice that automatically things will start coming up that maybe need to be addressed. Maybe there's course corrections that we need to make. Sometimes there are actual, efforts that we might have to put in. And it can be simple things. Maybe there's like a meditative practice that I hear of that speaks to me that I want to incorporate. Maybe there is some lifestyle changes, some physical activity, whatever it may be. Maybe it's something that we might want to feel doesn't serve us anymore and we want to cut it out or just reduce it. Like in terms of anxiety, some people drink those energy drinks, maybe even on a regular basis. So all of a sudden, there might be that notion of, okay, that actually is not aligned with my focus. So I might want to cut out or cut that down or reduce that to whatever degree I can at that point. But that will come in automatically as we move on, right? As we go. Trusting in that process, knowing that you will get there. Yeah. Is that it? I think that will be it for today. I also don't want to put in too much information here. Of course, there's a lot more that we can say on these topics, but if you do have any questions regarding that or any further tips or guidelines that you would like, then just post that down below. I'm happy to answer that. And other than that, thank you for being here and joining me here today. And I will see you in the next one. Take care.